been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together. This is big things. Doing big things. Chasing big dreams. Yeah, it's all real. This life's all that it seems. All the chicks scream. All the dudes yell. This is just what I do and I do it well. With the flow fresher than the new shoe smell. Going through hell, but homie, keep going. You know the saying, you can reap what you sow in. So I don't chase girls. I just chase dreams. Play the same game, but we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general from the front, I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap never. Going hard as ever. The results match the
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Oz Digital Studio. We're from the Shrimp Tank down here in Boca Raton, Florida, in collaboration with the FEU Adams Center for Entrepreneurship. We have an amazing guest lined up today, and only one more guest for the finale of 2023. So if you missed any of these episodes, go ahead and look up at our website, shrimptankpodcast.com, click Boca Raton, and check out the past 270 episodes that we've aired. And every week we come to you with the brightest entrepreneurs from South Florida, and you get to really get an MBA on running a business, because they really dive deep into, you know, their business structure and how they're doing it, all the tricks and tips. So you definitely want to tune in, listen to these guests, and of course, reach out to them and connect. A lot of our past guests are always willing to help another fellow entrepreneur. So we got Kevin Cox, who's looking awesome today. What do you got on, Kevin? Share with our audience who maybe not watching, they're listening.
Well, only a few times a year it's appropriate to break out the snowman blazer. So that is what I am wearing today. And I like to say, you know, business on the bottom, party up top. That's how we're doing it. Having some fun. It's been a really exciting semester here at FAU. We've done so much. Just this month, we hosted a couple massively successful conferences. NobleCon 19 was right here at FAU, the annual small cap investor conference, which featured a fireside chat with President Bush. You may have heard of.
Wow.
Yeah. On
Why didn't we get him on the Shrimp Tank? What was going on there, Kevin? You didn't have insight.
I think it was the secret security. They couldn't approve me. They didn't really trust me enough, I guess.
Actually, next 2024, we'll get them.
Yeah, maybe next time. We also hosted the Interactive Causal Learning Conference hosted by the Madden Center for Value Creation with a grant from the Sloan Foundation, the 4th annual Boca European Corporate Finance and Government Conference. I mean, it's really been an exciting time, just staying busy. All things are humming. And it's that time of the year where I just want to congratulate all of our 2024 graduates, 300 plus grad students from the College of Business, 3 PhDs, and 400 plus undergraduates. And these graduates contribute to our growing Florida Atlantic alumni community of more than 200,000 people. So it's a great community. It's a great time to be at FAU, and it's a great time to be involved in entrepreneurship and innovation.
Wow. That is impactful. I mean, just to hear, you know, where things are going with FAU is absolutely amazing. I drive around this campus all the time. And I just keep seeing, you know, more buildings going up and just more events going on in the local community surrounding FAU. So absolutely awesome. So
enough about FAU and me. That's exciting, but not nearly as exciting as our guest today. We've got a legendary guest in the studio.
Yeah, Laurence Gartel. And if you are not watching live, go ahead and hit, you know, at Shrimp Tank Boca on Facebook or YouTube or FEU Adams Center page. You will see our table is full of things that Laurence has, you know, designed. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I got the opportunity to drive over here in his car, which is also designed like these skateboards that we see on our table here. So Laurence, welcome to the Shrimp Tank today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I haven't been on campus for so long. I once had a show at the Schmidt Center of Art here in like 95. I mean, life happens really quickly, you know.
Well, I bet the campus is hardly recognizable.
It's impossible.
Between the stadium and the new Schmidt family complex across the street, it's really grown up.
It's beautiful. And I used to actually, before COVID, saw movies at the movie theater, which I absolutely loved. It's the best kept secrets. I don't want to talk about it.
Good.
Great.
we'll keep that under wraps.
Yes.
So who is Laurence Gartel? Right, our audience is listening right now. They want to know more about you.
Well,
tell everyone.
Laurence Gartel is the father of digital art. He started at the age of 19, and how it all happened was that I had my high school girlfriend went up to University of Buffalo, and in order to, I thought, save our relationship, I better get up there before some strapping football player would like grab her. So I went up there. I couldn't get into that school, so I went to Buff State. And I was sitting in the back of a classroom watching a Charlie Chaplin movie called Modern Times. And a guy tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I have this long lens. I have a camera, and I'm wondering if I could take a still picture of a moving image." And he said to me, "We have a place down here that does sort of like what you're talking about. Why don't you come down and see the studio?" And I said, "All right." And it was in the worst neighborhood in the world. And I thought I was going to get my camera stolen, my wallet, my car. But I went anyway, because at 19 years old, what the heck? You don't think about any of those things. So I went, and lo and behold, it was a electronic center. And I started taking photos off of the screen and manipulating it through knobs and buttons and wires and things like that. And I met the father of video art, Nam June Paik, who has had many, many, many shows at the Guggenheim and the Whitney, etc. And I said to myself, the future of art is going to be electronic. I just knew it right back then. And it was the year of 1975. That was a long time ago. That was before Steve Jobs ever even thought about a computer, as well as Bill Gates. No such thing as a personal computer.
Those are the typewriter days.
No, yeah.
Right, those weren't even the computer days.
This is a picture of the second system that I used in Binghamton, New York, called the Experimental Television Center. And interestingly enough, just recently, some of the guys came down for a show called Beatnik, and it was about Beatnik poets, and they were from upstate New York and came and gave some explanations about what was going on in the early days. And I hadn't seen them for so long, and that was at the Palm Beach Photographic Center in West Palm. But any case, I saw that and I said, this is the future, and I just never stopped. Basically, that's what happened. And so I was fortunate enough to create some very iconic images, such as the first digital art cover of Forbes representing Reuters news. And Reuters was going to a computer at that time. So, the company was started by using carrier pigeons to send information over enemy lines. And so from carrier pigeons to disseminating knowledge through computers. So I represented them with a dove flying out of a pair of hands. And that cover is absolutely iconic, I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, so much of your stuff is. I spend a lot of time. I don't always do this. Fair enough. Reading about you as an upcoming guest. When Jason told me the news we were going to have you on the show, you've done so much. But it is the Boca Raton Shrimp Tank, Laurence. We got to talk a little bit about business.
Yes.
I'm starting a new initiative that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And it was really prompted by the music school. Our music and arts program
Yes.
is now going to include entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Fundamental class that I teach as an elective. And I think that's really important, right? You hear about the starving artists. So this will be for musicians and artists. And so many of them are entrepreneurs, right? They're giving lessons. They're doing shows. They're creating content, artwork that inevitably they need to sell it, to make a living. So how did you figure that side of it?
Wait a second, Kevin, you don't just post it on social media and then sales take off? I thought that, every time I see a business plan, it's just like, how are you going to scale your business? Social media, ads, right?
So I must tell you, and not in this book, in another book, there's a picture of me in my hallway in the Bronx. I'm 8 years old, and there was a sign. I made a hand painted sign, and I'll have to send it to you or post it or something so you can see it. And it says, "Welcome to the art gallery. Admission 25 cents." And it was in my hallway when you first walk in. So I was charging people to come to my home at 8. And I always understood the idea of art and commerce at that age. And I never stopped. I made t-shirts when I got up to Buffalo because I had to make a living somehow. I mean, I had to pay for my room that I was sharing. And business is all about, art is a business and it's a passion. And so if you want to do it, you better become entrepreneurial. You can have me as an
so you had
adjunct,
that stuff.
actually, it's something to consider.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you come in and talk.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes the passion can get misplaced in that, well, I just want to do it because I love it. But it's like, well, other people love it too. You're generating value and you should be compensated for that value. It's interesting to hear that you understood that early on at the beginning. And that's probably one of the reasons that enabled you to continue to do it and be so successful.
Well, I was charging people all along the way.
You have to. I mean,
so, like for instance, like my ad for Absolute Vodka, that's the most iconic image of the entire campaign. It was the longest running image for 10 years. What ad runs from 1991 to 2001? And the only reason it ended was because of 9/11. And they shut it down, and everything, was just ceased at that moment. And so that ad was on the back covers of Art in America, Art Forum, Sotheby's, Wired, New York Magazine, Scientific American, Art Bite. It was everywhere for 10 years running. So, the exposure of that, I say exposure, but of course I got paid for the ad.
Yeah.
So,
Can you explain
everything.
the ad a tad more for our audience that's listening? They might not have seen the cover. I want our audience to really understand, because I remember back in the 90s, it was right when I started to drink alcohol, and obviously Absolute vodka was like the thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, we got to get a bottle of Absolute." And it was on a lot of covers, and it was iconic. People would fill those bottles. They put Jolly Ranchers in them to make them change colors, of course. And then it would just be like the cool thing. Oh, you got to get a bottle of Absolute.
Absolutely. And, they commissioned many famous artists to do ads, and not only just fine artists, but sculptors and etc. And so it became a cultural phenomenon started by TBWA Advertising Agency. Okay. And what's interesting about that is that they sent me a note when I first approached them, and they said, "Thanks, but no thanks." That's a very key, critical part of my career. Was they sent me a letter, and they said, "Be nice to him." And the yellow Post-it, "Be nice to him," got in the envelope telling me no thank you. And then one time, my assistant called them at 5 after 5 when the secretary left the office, and I spoke to the CEO, Michelle Rue, and he said, "By all means, we'd love to have you do it." So I bypassed the ad agency. I bypassed everything directly to the CEO, and he said yes.
I love that part, because so often people get no's and they give up. And I always say you might be talking to the wrong person. You talk to like one individual of the company, and they have no idea, if the CEO would have wanted it. And then you immediately assume like, okay, they didn't want to do business with me, and they get really disturbed. They're like, screw that company. And I'm like, you might have just talking to the wrong person. There's been so many times where I've been shut down to have a guest on the Shrimp Tank.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden I see the CEO. I look them straight in the eyes. I go, "Hey, you should join us one weekend." They looking like, "That looks amazing. I'd love to join you."
Well,
right?
I mean, the Shrimp Tank itself is a good example. I know Jason doesn't take no as an answer. How many people did you have to talk to before you talked to me? And I was like, absolutely, we'll start a podcast.
Yes.
That's actually a good point.
That's all.
Right? I walked straight in, and you're like, "Yeah, this sounds like an awesome idea."
Yeah.
Right. Like often if I reached out to 10 other people, it would have went nowhere.
They probably are not people who would wear that jacket, for one thing. So that's a very interesting signal in itself. People take risk. you have to take risk in life. And usually it's at the top of the pile. So just to give you a more current, that was in 91. So that was 30 something years ago, right? So I came down here because I had a show at the Norton Museum. I was all of 34 years old. I had the entire museum. People didn't even know what digital was. The first digital camera had just come out at that moment. And I had the Canon 760 still video camera, which used a floppy drive that held 25 pictures on a disc. And they were 800K files. They were very small. So that absolute ad was made using that camera, which was used for the Desert Storm War. And they were testing to see how you could transmit photographs on a 14.4 baud modem. I mean, I'm dating myself. This is so long ago, but I was always persisting, and I could tell you my life story. It would take hours.
What was your biggest risk then when you bring up risk? Because often entrepreneurs have that moment they'll never forget where they took the leap.
I'll tell you
one?
a great current story. Okay. So I'm driving on 441. I pass a sign that says Guitar Hotel here. And I said, oh my God, I gotta be in that guitar. I have to have my art in that building. There's no question about it. So what did I do? I called up the CEO of Hard Rock International, and I told him, I have to be in this building. I just have to be. It was a sign. It was like on a dirt, like a fence. It said coming soon. I said, no. I have to be in there. And I'll tell you something. Go to the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel. I have my art commissioned. It's down the lobby leading to the Oasis Tower that looks back at the guitar, because those people get a light show at 9
exactly
o'clock.
What you're talking about. Yeah. There's that separate wing.
Yeah, that separate wing. So if you
That's
go
my
down
secret
there,
wing. No one knows about that wing, because if you stay in that wing, you actually see the guitar light show at night versus staying in the guitar itself where you can't see it.
Correct. And it's really not for the general public. It's for the high rollers stay in that place, because their rooms are, $5,000 to $10,000. And so that's where the art is. And I have a plaque that's dedicated to me, larger than Elvis Presley.
Nice.
That's unbelievable. So there is, like, when you say, like, what,
how did you get through to the CEO though? I mean, that's an
called
important
him up.
part. But how did you get his contact info? Because lots of times people say, okay, that's great, but like, I would love to call the CEO of Walmart, Amazon, right? But you just can't get through, right? You were able to get through to.
That was a very
important. So what was your trick? How did you get the contact info? Did you get a referral from a friend, colleague?
Referral.
Or did you look them up on these online directories? Did you go on LinkedIn, Instagram? How do you get through to them?
You make sure to get it is the answer. Period.
I like that.
Nice.
The nice segue.
Figure it out. That's what he's saying.
Nice segue. These cubes are in 3,100 Walmarts around the country, exclusive to Walmart. If you want this set of cubes that you're looking at right here, this is made with this company called Shishibo, and it stands for Shape Shifting Box. The more you have, the more you can make. And it really took off during COVID because people were home and they needed something to do. And you want to get your kids out and off of the computer and maybe like working with their hands and thinking and so on and so forth. So this cube just flew, and now they're in 3,100 Walmarts. They're not this set. Another kind of set is in Target stores, 2,000 Target stores, Barnes and Noble, and then we have the deluxe limited edition box set. So in the limited edition box, which is all designed by Laurence Gartel, you open it up, and here is the box. And what happened is that this box was the shipping box, and people got it, and they said, my box got destroyed. I need a new box. We said, no, that's the shipping box. They said, no, we want it. So then we started to ship the box in a box because people wanted this box.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Fully designed, right? Inside, outside. So you pull the sleeve off, and then you have
Another box.
Another box. And you open the box, and then what do you get? You get a how-to directory of how to like work with the shapes and all of this.
Very cool.
It shows you how to do that. A manual. And then, like you said, well, who the hell is Laurence Gartel? We don't know who he is. Well, here is a 50-page booklet on Laurence Gartel and his achievements and accomplishments. And you can see all the different throughout the world, all the events and things that I've done. Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake. I did their tour art for them. There's Danny, Howie rather, of the Backstreet Boys.
What would you say your biggest achievement was, looking back?
Well, we don't have to look that far back, actually. I wrapped the Grammy statue for the Grammys, which is actually at the Grammy Museum right now. I did it in 2015. I wrapped the statue, and the statue stands at 5.5 feet, and you could see it at the Grammy Museum on the 3rd floor. That
Nice.
to me
Pretty
was like it was the poster, the invitation, the VIP tickets. It was everything for the Grammys, and people could see the statue now.
Nice.
So entrepreneurship, business, it doesn't get more business than this. So I was also the artist of the Newport Jazz Festival, and I wrapped a trumpet, and the trumpet, like shortly after, got auctioned off at a musical auction site. So I went to the High School of Music and Art, the Fame High School, and many, many famous people went to that school. So art and music has been fused into my blood. And I have been that. And I have to say, as creative as I am, I don't have a musical note in my body. I cannot do music. And I see a lot of like musicians who actually try to make art. And I say, stick to what you're good at, to be honest. That's my thing. But people do venture. And then, of course, you know, speaking of music, in 1985, I had met Andy Warhol at Studio 54. And he got the commission to make Debbie Harry's album cover. So because of that, the Luca Museum said that was the moment when pop art and digital art fused together. So here's a 300-page book on a museum show, half devoted to Andy, half to myself, that was traveling around to different locations for so many years. Sorry about that phone ringing, but and then COVID happened and it all stopped, unfortunately. But here's a super great picture.
Nice. I like the goatee. Looking good.
Well, you know, we try to clean up every now and then. So
Well, that's quite a blazer you've got on.
I was
Oh,
about to
speaking of
say,
blazers,
that's a
yeah.
blazer.
I'm a guy who appreciates a creative.
well, I
blazer.
didn't want to,
As
you know, I'm not upstaging your beautiful blazer. So I'm just, that's
And
really
you
stunning.
decided to wear the color tones of the shrimp tank today.
Well,
all in red
yes.
with red Nike, so we got to give you credit there.
Well, I'll tell you this. Thank you so much. But I'll tell you the truth. I met my my ex-wife. I was wearing orange. She was wearing red. I said that was a history of our life. You know, not quite exactly on the same page. But we did have two beautiful children together that are equally successful and equally in business. And you should have them on the show
We
because
sure will.
my daughter is the #1 hair colorist of the world. She won in Las Vegas over 33 countries, and she's right here in Delray Beach on Jog and Atlantic Avenue.
Oh,
She has her
wow.
own salon, and she's booked constantly, and she's doing fabulous. And my son Cameron has the sneaker store Headache Trading on Atlantic Avenue, and he's doing phenomenal. So they both have that creativity and business, because that's how you stay in business. And really, ultimately, you know, I was doing it my whole life, right? So I can't do anything else. But there's a passion to getting it out there and letting people know. So the latest thing is here.
Oh, that's awesome. The car.
which also is kind of interesting because I was also the official person of the 113th New York International Auto Show with my own pavilion of art cars and motorcycles, 25,000 square feet of space. And anyway, of course, as a child, I was always playing with Matchbox cars. And I said, one day I'm going to have my own car. And lo and behold, finally, we just came out with 504 limited edition Ferrari F430 cars. So now for Christmas. So if anyone's interested, they could certainly contact me at gartel@aol.com and I could give them the link where they can order this car. And there's only 504 and 165 of these already spoken for. So we haven't announced it to the general public yet. You're hearing it here on the Shark.
Here on the Shrimp Tank. Only here. Get them before they sell out.
Nice.
Before they skyrocket in value.
Skyrocket in value. $149.95. Come on. Everyone can afford that.
Awesome. Well, Laurence, we're going to take a quick commercial break
Yes.
for one of our sponsors. Then when we get back, we're going to jump into our hot or not segment of the show.
Okay. I got another great thing to show just right
after break.
Right after break. Thank you.
Look, Google is smart, but owls are wiser. Instead of spending an hour sifting through ads and clickbait BS, get the answers you need from qualified experts immediately. What is OWL? Think a best of edition of Google, Cameo, and Clubhouse, all rolled into one app. OWL is an app where you can get advice through secure, private, live voice calls, tailored specifically to your questions, and all in real time. Need marketing or PR advice? OWL it. App or software development? OWL it. Healthcare, investing, social media, grant writing, education? OWL it. Coming soon. OWL, one-on-one with sports legends, singers, actors, celebrities, and more in real time. That's super exciting. Who? OWL. That's OWWLL. 2 W's for twice as wise. 2 L's because you'll really love it. OWL. Connect. Learn. Grow. Now available for Apple or Android. Download OWL today on the App Store on your device.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Shrimp Tank. That was the feature by the OWL app, and we got some exciting news for you. Laurence Gartel himself will be the featured expert next week on OWL. So if you want to chat with Laurence one-on-one, we require our guests to charge only $1 because they love giving back to the audience who's listening to this show. Call them. First come, first serve, of course, on the OWL app. Okay, Laurence, on this segment of the show, it is called Hot or Not. We're going to ask you a question. Dive deep into why you believe it's hot or not. Art Basel.
Sounds good. Art Basel.
Is it hot or not? Or we could say overrated, underrated. For that matter.
I got to tell you, my experience was fantastic. So, some galleries, pretentiousness. Yes. There's a lot of hoity-toityness. Yes. But surprisingly, I have to say, I went to the Spectrum Red Dot on the last day, which is sort of like the free-for-all, where they have up-and-coming young artists and stuff. And that was the best. And why was it the best? The energy was there. They were conversing with the crowd. It was packed. People were buying stuff. I know I bought stuff because I believe that you should give back and encourage young people. Same thing, to buy their work, and so therefore they could, have a future.
More authenticity there? Is there less ego in the room? Is it just because?
No, I think everyone has a little bit of ego, but I think that the engagement is really more the point, that they would engage you. You go something, oh, that's $1 million. They won't talk to you. I think someone who's going to buy a piece for $1 million, you should wine and dine, don't you think? As opposed to standing there like a board. And be pretentious. It's like reverse. It's reverse.
Well, that's what makes you such a good marketer and salesman, right? Because you walk straight into the Goddard Hotel. You knew it made sense. You don't wait for them to reach out to you.
I'm not.
Which is the biggest thing in entrepreneurship.
Listen,
those
before we go on,
who go and ask are the ones who get it.
100%. I got to talk about my next my thing that's in progress. This is an in progress. I
Ooh,
never
that's the
like
hidden one that I see it. Ooh.
I never like to talk about anything until but we're at the shrimp tank here. It's a school situation.
All right, for those that aren't watching, now this box isn't finely decorated and polished, and this is a top secret reveal here. So let's do it. What do
It
you got for
is.
us?
Because this is actually the prototype. This is going to be like from this, it's going to go to something like this that's finished and beautiful. And I intend to get a design award for when this is finished. How about that? Okay.
All right.
Here we go. We take it out.
All right. It's open.
Drum roll, drum roll.
Oh,
Oh,
It is the Laurence Gartel limited edition Code Cinnamon Rum. Only 500 bottles will be revealed with a certificate of authenticity. And you can see the thing here, and in it and behind here are 4 little coasters that come
cool.
with it. And then there'll be a decanter at the top that you'll replace this with. And I got to tell you, on top of it looking aesthetically beautiful, it actually, the taste of the rum is phenomenal. There's nothing like this. Look at the color of this thing. This has been really worked on and noodled and tweaked and everything to have such a beautiful aesthetic looking liquor. And then, of course, the art on the front. Never before has there been anything so beautiful.
yeah.
like
So
this
it's
before.
fantastic. So when
Thank
you
you.
do such a limited production run like
Yeah.
a 500, and forgive my ignorance about art,
Yeah.
what does one as a potential collector
Yeah.
or someone to looking at it more of like an investment?
Yeah.
Like what do I do? Let's say
I'll tell you
I
what.
know Lawrence, I had him on the podcast. I get one of those. Do I drink the rum? Do I never open the bottle? Do I never even open the box? What
This is my
strategy?
recommendation. You buy 2.
Ah, see, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
One to drink and tell all your friends and like give them a little sip. I wouldn't get a big cup like you're holding right there because that would be not
It'd be a long
prudent.
night.
That'd be a very
it'd be
well,
a short night.
that'd be a very short night and a short night for this bottle. But I would give people, I would buy one to say and converse with that you actually saw numero uno, number 1 bottle. And I would get one and I would put it away. And you're right. In 10 years time, you'll I don't know how many 100x, 500x the bottle. So these will be $495 for the first well, I should say it like this, not the first 10. Number 11 to 500 will be $495. And then after this is completely done, you will be able to buy this off the shelf for I'll say $299. It'll be everywhere. There'll be millions of these things everywhere in the world.
Oh, okay. So it will be going more mainstream. Oh, interesting.
Your absolute
What
days.
a
I
great
like how
way
it's
to capitalize on both. Because it is, I know a little bit about the alcohol industry. Like it's no easy task to create something like that.
No.
So doing it for only 500, so much trouble to get the color and then the distribution and then like that's a lot. A lot goes into that for any students who may be excited about starting that kind of brand. That's not an overnight thing.
This is not an overnight thing. I have to say.
Absolutely
This
not.
has been
It's highly regulated.
Uh,
It's I mean, there's so many
label
nuances.
approval, distribution, because I can't sell this to you.
No, unfortunately, you can't. Can you do it yourself? No. How does it get in?
Right.
Who's going to take you on being an unknown brand that's not well established? Can you hire a third-party distributor who's going to charge you way too much? Yes. Very challenging industry to break into. So congratulations on that. Really cool.
And sourcing the bottle and sourcing the caps and sourcing the decanter and sourcing everything and then designing so that it fits snug into the into the box.
Did someone approach you for this, or did you just really envision going down this?
I'm going to tell you what happened.
All right.
I went to an event in Palm Beach. I had one sip of this vodka. Not this particular taste, but they have like limoncello or key lime or whatever that they sell regular bottles. And I was like, that's nice, but that's not Gartel. Gartel has to take your brand to a whole nother level. And that's how I approached it. So
Awesome.
that's where we are with this.
All right, so let's get back into the old hot or not, because
Yes.
art right now, digital art is really kind of entering a new-ish era. There's always been similar kind of things, but the biggest thing now is probably, I got a notification last week, DALL-E is integrated into Bing, right? That's the one where you can use AI to generate images. What are your thoughts on all this AI image generation to create art? Hot or not so much?
Not at all. And it's the same thing with an NFT. Someone thought of a way of taking something and trying to get somebody to buy something on their phone, a JPEG or whatever. And that's the most ridiculous thing. And people go, but you're the father of digital art. I said, that's right. I believe in a beautiful aesthetic. I believe that digital art will replace painting. In 1989, I replaced Van Gogh's irises at the Joan Whitney Payson Museum in Portland, Maine. They took that painting off. They went to auction at Sotheby's. They sold it for $53 million. And I had a show called Nuovo Japonica of artwork that I created on the Amiga. And that was like after the time of my teaching Andy Warhol that work. So I have to say that I believe in real art. I believe in work that's authentic. I believe in art that has a track record, etc. And if anyone wants to come along now and do some of that stuff, well, you better come up with something different, because I have a Think Different ad that Steve Jobs commissioned me to do. It was Golda Meir, Jackie Robinson, Jim Henson, Gandhi, Picasso, and myself. One of the only living artists to ever have a Think Different ad for Apple.
Awesome. I got one more quick one before I know we got to get to another break here.
Yeah.
I fell into a vortex looking at some of the automobiles you've done.
Yeah.
Right? Just fantastic stuff. So I want to hear a little bit more how you got into that. But in terms of hot or not, is wrapping automobiles, real size, our cars, right? Is that still hot or not?
I've been there, done it. So for me, it's over. The party's over. I move on to other things. Look at these phenomenal skateboards I brought you today.
Yeah, very cool.
These are 3/4 inch thick acrylic. The wheels light up underneath them. There's 5 different versions of these things. This one happens to do with outer space. This is the guitar. This abstract over here. And so to me, these are collectibles that you can put on the wall. They're not necessarily for using to
I was just gonna ask, will we
collectible.
Find you riding around South Florida on one of them?
I don't see it, to be honest, but I do see having it on the wall and having it be a conversation piece.
Yeah.
So, the idea is to keep inventing. That's the business. So wrapping cars, some guy was telling me the other day, oh, he's bringing cars, he's splattering it with paint. I'm sorry, but that's not of interest to me at all. It's the innovation part of things that really makes a big difference. So to me, it's not hot at all. It's over.
Nice.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break here from our sponsors. Then we jump back. We're going to jump to our Plead the Fifth segment of the show.
Okay.
Step into our state-of-the-art innovation lab and create your digital future. Oz uses cutting-edge technology and 22 years of industry knowledge to enhance customer experience through digital innovation in a variety of expertise. Oz is a leading global consulting company whose services and solutions are trusted by startup, midsize, and even Fortune 500 companies. Get to know more about Oz's Salus, a mobile solution bringing us back to max capacity, and their latest solution, Rainmaker, saving insurance companies years of work. To learn more about Oz and their exciting technologies, visit followoz.com. That's FOLLOWOZ.com.
I'm ready.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to our favorite segment of the show called Plead the Fifth. Lawrence, you can only plead the fifth one time. If you do it twice, you're going to have to rap Kevin Cox's automobile, which happens to be a Tesla.
Ooh,
I know you're
there you
famous
go.
for rapping. Okay.
Yep.
What was your biggest screw up when you look back at all the items you've designed and a business got very upset with you based on how it came out and they wouldn't use the design? Is there one in particular that sticks out?
Well, I could tell you one thing. So I just did my second go round with hotel planner people, and we had the 50th anniversary of hip hop at the Boca Raton Resort like a few weeks ago, and there was Cuba Gooding Jr. there, and Flavor Flav, and DJ Paul Oakenfold, and just Grandmaster Flash. A lot of people were there. Anyway, the previous time, they asked me to make a poster for them for their event down at the Eden Rock, and the first design I made, they hated it. They absolutely hated it, and I never heard that before in my life. And they were like very conservative people, and I said, I'm giving you, exactly what I was told. So like they were really nervous, like, oh my God, here comes Laurence Gartel, and like, he created something we don't like.
All
So
right.
that scared me.
It happens. It happens.
Who is, and maybe unlike, maybe the client, they were a little conservative and didn't
Yeah.
love it. Maybe this is an example where maybe a client did like it, maybe they didn't like it, whatever it was. But who's the worst client you worked for? It can be an individual, or you've worked with some massive kind of corporations.
Worst
Does one
client?
stick out where it was
Oh, yeah,
like,
he's smiling. Well, you got him.
I'm trying to think of the worst client. I mean, I'll say this. The only thing that comes to mind outside is like my dad passed away, and I took over because my mother said, how are we gonna like, how am I, meaning her, going to survive, And he was a painting contractor in New York City. And he painted all the garages in New York, and he had the Hotel Carlisle. He had a lot of clients, I'll say. And one time, a lady approached me in the building where I lived, and she goes, I know your father was a house painter. Could you come and paint my house? And my father always said, never work where you live. And I broke his rule.
uh-oh.
And that was the worst. This woman was a freaking nightmare. And I, I'm smiling because she was like a few, I had to confront her every day in the elevator type of thing. And it was like I was ready to strangle her in the elevator. So yes, I have.
And you had to move.
And I only worked in my dad's business for 2 years, and then my mom passed away, and I said, okay. The end.
Okay, my final question to get you
Yeah.
to plead the fifth is, what is the most outrageous request that someone has asked you to do? Could have been something.
Someone's outrageous request. Okay, I'll tell you what it was. I was asked to do the ceiling of the Hard Rock in Orlando, and then COVID happened and they shut it down, and everyone, like half the staff was fired, and I never got to do it. But it's the ceiling where they have the pink Cadillac like spinning around in the cafe over there. They asked me to do.
Let me go the other direction. What was the most inappropriate request? That's where I was really heading.
I like inappropriate requests.
Yeah. Was there something that like, this could be a little too edgy?
No, there's nothing too edgy.
Nude side, for example, and they asked you to do something.
I've never been embarrassed in my life, I have to say. So no. I mean, my clients have to be as cool as me. I mean, that's kind of the point, I think. Okay. So I can't say that anyone asked me to do something outrageous that I wouldn't do.
All right. Well, I got one for you.
Yeah.
You seem really passionate about art and entrepreneurship and business, and we're all about that here at the Adam Center. But, we're a nonprofit. You know, we got to make do on what we can. What can Lawrence do with the Adam Center or for the Adam Center of Entrepreneurship? We learned today. Just ask.
Just ask.
I have to
auction
think about that.
Can you wrap something?
We do have a new studio coming in 2024.
Does it need a wall? Does it need like
podcast table? Podcast table.
Podcast table.
Wow,
that would be cool. That would be interesting for me to do for you. Sure, absolutely. By the way, I should tell tell
Smith.
you,
He said he's in.
Sold.
Yeah, sold.
talking about philanthropy. Okay, I fund the Palm Beach Film and Television division of the Student Film Awards. That they
Okay.
create a poster, and I sponsor that. So I do that, and also my grandchild is at Murakami Elementary,
Oh,
and
it's right near where I live.
and I fund
Great
the
school.
arts. I fund the art program as well. So I do my share to give back. So I would definitely come and do your table for you 100%.
Well,
pleasure.
you heard it here. That is fantastic.
would be
I got to get
something.
that table commissioned, and then we're going to
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Laurence, thank you for joining us here on the Shrimp Tick today. For audience listening, if they want to get in touch with you, what is the best route?
Probably gartel@aol.com. That is my email address. I've had it since the very beginning. Early adopter, probably one of the first 500 people of AOL to have an AOL address. Gartel@AOL. Easy peasy. But you can always find me on Instagram, Laurence Gartel. You can find me on Facebook, Laurence Gartel. And I don't know. Should I give my phone number? No, I won't give my phone number
No,
out.
you're
But
good.
No,
good
that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, Google my name, Laurence Gartel.
Well,
Yeah.
Laurence, thank you for joining us here on the Shrimp Tank today. For everyone
Thank you. It's
listening,
really a
we're
pleasure.
excited for 2024. Definitely go back to all these episodes and listen to them. And have a great afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.
Wow. Great
Feeling
question.
like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it take a swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Doing big things, chasing big dreams. Yeah, it's all real. This life's all that it seems. All the chicks scream, all the